2014 outlook. My name is Stephen Baden. I'm an analyst here at Genscape. I'll be running you through the outlook today. So starting off, we're going to take a look at the demand. We have forecasted a quick review of the demand last summer, look at generation, look at the upcoming transmission work, talk a little bit about congestion, review the TSAs, go over Zone A congestion a little more, and then talk about gas as well. Quick review of the NYISO summer outlook, any additions or retirements we're going to see, then another quick summary. So it does look like we're going to get some slightly cooler than average temperatures for the summer in 2014. The main driver of this is going to be the return of the El Nino weather event. June temperatures are actually looking a little above average. However, the El Nino will kick in July through August. Evidence from the past summers indicates that the greatest downside is going to occur around the Great Lakes and the Midwest region. So I think we're going to see a bearish demand lookout going through this summer. Quick recap of last summer. It was just barely above average, and we did set a new record load on July 19th. So going into the summer, we're going to see the highest correlation between the peak temperature with demand, and that is going to be the main price driver through the summer, as we do see cooling load pick up, especially in the major city centers in Zones J and Zone K. So taking a look at generation here, the green line is showing the current generation outage schedule. As you can see, there's little to no generation outages planned for June and July. However, as always, there will be a certain amount of unplanned generation outages or trips. Historically, over the past 2 summers, that number has been around 876 megawatts of generation on outage daily. On to the transmission. Very, very little transmission line work scheduled for New York this summer. So we do have Meyer to Canandaigua. That will derate the Kissinger East interface by about 200 megawatts. We also have Springbrook to East Garden City. That will be out for about three days. That's going to cut ties out to Long Island, derate that Conrad-LIPA interface, drive a little bit of congestion out there. I think the important thing to take away here is that there is no significant transmission outages or derates scheduled for July or for August. Again, same with generation. It will come down to a matter of unplanned outages. Looking at flows and the change in congestion going into the summer, coming out of the winter and the shoulder months, we're going to see reduction in the flows out to New England. So the reduction in the flows out to New England and the increased load that we're going to see coming out of the city, driven primarily by cooling load in the major load centers, we're going to see reduction in flows over Central East and more flows moving south through the Pleasant Valley area. So all the flows moving down from F coming in from the west, and also imports coming in from New England, are going to bottleneck in that Pleasant Valley area, and we're going to see congestion that will separate F from G. G from Zone F. One of the main congestion drivers that we typically see during the summer is a real-time congestion at Pleasant Valley leads driven by a TSA warning. So with this TSA, when thunderstorms sit over the Hudson Valley, they represent a significant risk to the 345 system that flows power down from F into New York City. To mitigate the risk of losing one of these ties, a TSA alert is called. When a TSA alert is in effect, what the NYISO does is they cut flows over the Athens-Leeds line and the Leeds-Hurley Ave line. This drives strong congestion on the Pleasant Valley-Leeds interface. And what we see is we see a little bit of downside F, primarily to the Athens and Gilboa plant, and we see strong upside to all generators G through K. Now again, this is a real-time only congestion risk, and just a little point, last summer, TSA warnings were called for 73 total hours. During those 73 hours, the average Zone G dark spread was $53 versus an average of only $8 for the rest of the summer. So just to clarify, dark spread there is a much stronger real-time price versus the day-ahead price. Last summer, during July 15th through the 19th, we saw extremely high demand coming through for New York, and this was also correlated with extremely strong day-ahead Zone A congestion pricing. Now, I found in speaking with our clients here that there's an assumption going on that strong demand really drives the Zone A congestion. However, I do not think that this is the entire story. If we historically look at the drivers of Zone A congestion, we have weak PJM AC flows over that Homer City Stoll Road line, strong IMO imports, or too much generation on the 345 kV system versus weak generation on the 230 system, and of course line outages on the 230 system. Now, if we look at the graph here in the top left, we can see that the strong demand clearly was correlated with the congestion and obviously the price in Zone A. However, if we look at the clear for the 19th, we can see that even though it was the second highest load day, it was the lowest congestion day and one of the lowest LMP days. So clearly demand itself is not the sole driver of the Zone A congestion. Looking at the graph below, we can see PJM flows and IMO flows as well. And as we can see, there's actually a much better correlation between decreasing PJM flows and the Zone A congestion. So really the conclusion here is that strong demand alone does not drive Zone A congestion. And while it is a significant risk, there's no reason to think that just because load may approach the numbers that we saw last summer, it will drive the same Zone A congestion that we saw. So moving on to fuel, a couple of bullish factors going on here. First of all, natural gas total inventories are well below where they were last year. As a matter of fact, they're about 50% below the previous 5-year average. That's as a result of the extremely cold winter we saw and the high amount of gas burn we had. As well as that, there will be work on the AGT pipeline. That's anticipated to start in June. That's going to cut supply on the AGT nearly in half. This is similar to work that we saw last year, so we'll cover that in a little more detail. Looking at coal, those inventories are very low as well going into the summer. This is a result of the gradual retirement of coal plants, also the slight decline in coal production, but they are the lowest in about a decade. Another warning is that the drought in California going on for the second year in a row will likely result in flows from east to west for gas. So the line maintenance that we have scheduled for AGT is at Cromwell. It is currently scheduled to be out 6/5 through 6/30, and again, we'll cut flows over the AGT in half. Now, this is the same line work that we did see last year. There was not a strong relationship with the gas price. However, we did see a small impact on flows over the New York AC. New England did draw more imports from New York during June than we had seen in previous years. So now we're going to cover the NYISO summer outlook. So their peak demand was going calling for 33,666, so slightly below where we were last year. And for their capacity requirements, they require about 117% for ICAP for their expected load. So that means their ICAP requirement for the summer is about a little over 39,000. And as a reliability, they expect 5.5% of total installed capacity to be offline, and as a result, an additional 1,300. That's included if the largest ICAP resource becomes unavailable. So on the top day, their unplanned outage amount is about 3,299. Now that is well below our forecast. And just to reiterate, they are coming from this from a reliability stance. So the big takeaway here is that nothing unexpected for New York, nothing that the ICAP requirements aren't capable of handling. So going on to additions and retirements for New York, we have 2 repowerings. One at the Greenwich Generation stand in Zone C. It is a coal plant, about 100 megawatts, that is expected to come back online August 1st. And then a Ravenswood combined cycle out in Zone F, will offer about 42 megawatts, and that is expected to come back online around May. So slight bearish drivers going into the summer. For retirements, we do have Selkirk planning to retire September 1st. Now September, so it is just out of the range of the summer outlook. And it is still a matter of debate whether or not it will retire, as it may be reneeded for reliability. However, we did want to cover it. So just another overview of the summer outlook. We're going to take a look at the main price drivers by zone. So load for Zone A is bearish, as we do expect that El Nino effect in the Great Lakes region to bring down the below average price for the summer. Pretty much neutral for the rest of the grid. Generation is bearish, as there are currently no scheduled outages and actually the return of a few generators. Transmission is neutral, with virtually no transmission plants being on outage. Gas is the only bullish driver that we are looking at going into the summer. That's mainly off the low reserves and also the AGT-D rate going through this June. For imports, Zone G is a slight bullish risk, as we might see fewer New England imports than we would expect, again driven by that AGT-D rate. So in summary, we are expecting slightly above average temperatures through June, followed by below seasonal average temperatures through July and August, and overall a bearish outlook on load. Unscheduled generation and transmission line outages will be the main drivers, as there are no scheduled ones. Reduction in central east congestion and increased Pleasant Valley leads congestion, as we see flow start to move towards New York and exports towards New England pull back. Strong real-time congestion driven by TSA warnings, and risk of strong fuel prices due to low reserves. So that's it for the Summer Outlook 2014. I'll stay online for a little bit to answer any questions that you guys have, and I'll be back in a second. Thanks. Bye. All right, we're getting a few questions about gas forecasts. Basically, people are asking if we think gas is going to rally the same way we did this winter. We do not expect a rally this summer the way that we did last winter. Main reason being that the reason for that rally was the very, very cold weather and the strong load across the entire Northeast. However, the load projections for the entire Northeast are bearish this year, and we just don't think the demand is going to be there to drive strong gas rallies. And that looks like it's pretty much it for the question, so we're going to go ahead and sign off. Just a reminder, you will all be emailed a recording of this Outlook, and if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me directly. I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks. Bye.